So, what if one person's routine health data could end up helping redefine the future of medicine for an entire country? Well, that's not some sci-fi hypothetical. It is the real story of how a single life-saving discovery is tied to one of the most ambitious national health projects on the planet. So, let's dive into how this is all happening right now.
It's a simple question, right? But the answer is surprisingly complex. We often think of medical research as this thing that happens in a lab, totally separate from our daily lives. But what if it could actually reach out and tap you on the shoulder at the exact moment you needed it most?
To see how, we're not going to start with big data or massive spreadsheets. We're going to start with one person. We're looking at a small pilot study in Qatar that took information from a biobank and brought it right to a patient's bedside, with some pretty incredible results.
Now, at the heart of this story are the BRCA genes. And the most important term on this slide, the one you really need to remember, is medically actionable. That means finding a harmful mutation isn't just a piece of bad news. No, it's a vital piece of information that lets doctors take preventative steps before cancer ever gets a chance to start.
The process itself was actually pretty elegant and simple. Researchers went through the existing genomic data from thousands of volunteers in the Qatar Biobank. They were looking for people who were totally asymptomatic. I mean, they felt perfectly healthy, but were carrying these high-risk BRCA variants. Then they reached out, gave them counseling, and plugged them into a personalized surveillance program.
And the result? Well, it was absolutely life-changing. Because of this proactive search, one participant, who had 0 symptoms and no idea she was at risk, was found to have early-stage ovarian cancer. It was caught, and it was treated. That right there is the power of taking research data out of the lab and into the real world.
And get this, it wasn't just a one-time success. The participants who were identified, they took this information seriously. A full 100% of them followed through with the recommended screenings over the next 2 years. This proves the program isn't just possible, it's incredibly effective when you empower people with this kind of knowledge.
So a life was changed. It's a powerful, incredible story. But here's the thing, that single outcome didn't just happen in a vacuum. It was just one result of a huge system that's been carefully built for more than a decade. So let's zoom out and look at the big picture.
Yeah, this was no lucky accident or some one-off project. No way. It was the deliberate result of a massive, long-term national strategy.
I mean, just look at this timeline. The foundation for this was laid way back in 2012 with Qatar Biobank. Then came the Qatar Genome Programme to actually sequence all that DNA. And just recently, the Qatar Precision Health Institute launched to tie it all together and make sure these amazing discoveries reach actual patients. This was a marathon, not a sprint.
But you gotta ask, why? Why go to all this trouble? Why invest so much in building this entire thing from the ground up? Well, the answer lies in this giant blind spot in global medical science. You see, for decades, the vast majority of human genomic data has come from people of European ancestry. It's like trying to navigate the world with a map where entire continents are just blank. For the 400 million people in the Arab world, this genomic gap meant that precision medicine often wasn't very precise at all. And the scale of this missing information is just staggering. By sequencing local populations, the Qatar Genome Programme discovered nearly 25 million genetic variants that were completely new to science. Let that sink in for a second. That's a huge amount of human biology that is finally on the map.
What's really fascinating is this research also revealed an incredible amount of diversity within the Arab population. It's not one single group. As you can see here, there are distinct ancestral clusters, from peninsular Arabs with unique Bedouin ancestry to groups with African or Persian heritage. Each one has a different genetic story, and understanding that complexity is absolutely key to truly personalizing medicine.
So, they've mapped the genome, they've filled in the huge gaps. Now what? How does all that data in a computer translate into the daily reality of a visit to the doctor's office?
This is the really smart part. While sequencing a whole genome is amazing for research, it's way too expensive to do for everybody. So using their own data, they created something called the Q-chip, a really low-cost screening tool. It's like, instead of handing everyone a complete encyclopedia, you give them a customized cheat sheet that just has the most important answers for their population. It makes genomics affordable, and it makes it scalable.
And this commitment, this vision, it comes from the very top. As Her Highness Sheikha Moza bint Nasser said, the whole point is to move beyond that old one-size-fits-all approach to medicine. It's about using this new, precise understanding to prevent disease before it even starts. And if you want to see why this is so critical, just look at these numbers from Qatar's Pharmacogenomics program. That's basically the study of how your genes affect your response to drugs. What they found is mind-blowing. Nearly every single person, 99.5%, has a genetic variant that affects how they process common medications. And for about a third of the population, a standard cholesterol drug could come with a high risk of side effects. This isn't some niche issue, it's a massive public health necessity.
So all of this, it all leads to the final biggest piece of the puzzle. This isn't just about healthcare anymore. This is about building a new kind of nation.
I mean, what's so clear here is the sheer scope of this integrated strategy. They're not just doing research in a lab somewhere. They're building the infrastructure, they're writing the laws, they're training the genetic counselors, and they're integrating the data directly into people's health records. It's the whole shebang, a complete, self-sustaining ecosystem.
And here it is, the ultimate goal. This entire project is a pillar of the Qatar National Vision 2030. The aim is to completely flip the country's healthcare philosophy from sick care, treating people after they get ill, to true preventative health, and in doing so, creating a healthier society and a modern, knowledge-based economy.
So, what started with a single result for one person has become the blueprint for an entire nation's future. It proves that our health is so deeply connected to our heritage, and it leaves us all with one final, really important question. As Qatar builds its own genomic map, who else out there needs to start drawing theirs?